Welcome to English Now. I'm glad you're here. Today, we have a very special session designed for learners who already speak English well at AB2 level. This video is called Speak English Without a Partner, Daily Shadowing and Listening Practice B2, and it will help you improve your speaking, listening, and overall fluency without needing a conversation partner. Here's how this session will work. I will read sentences and short passages slowly and clearly. Your job is to shadow me. Repeat exactly what I say, mimicking my pronunciation, rhythm, and intonation. Focus on speaking naturally, as if you were having a real conversation. Don't worry about grammar mistakes. Just speak and listen actively. We'll start with some everyday situations. Repeat after me. I usually start my day with a cup of coffee. The weather today is perfect for a walk in the park. I like to listen to music while I work. She always reads a book before going to bed. They are planning a trip to Europe next summer. Great. Now let's increase the complexity a little. Repeat after me. I often think about how technology changes our daily lives. It's important to practice English regularly to maintain fluency. While walking in the city, I noticed many interesting shops I had never seen before. He explained the problem clearly, but I still had some questions. We were discussing the benefits of reading in different languages. Keep your voice steady and natural. Remember, shadowing is about rhythm and intonation, not just words. Next, we'll practice sentences with common phrasal verbs. Repeat carefully after me. I ran into my old friend at the supermarket yesterday. Could you turn down the music, please? I need to figure out how to solve this problem before the meeting. Let's go over the main points of the lesson once more. She decided to give up on her old habits and start fresh. Excellent. Now, we will practice expressing opinions and preferences. Repeat each sentence. In my opinion, traveling is one of the best ways to learn about different cultures. I prefer reading books to watching movies in my free time. Some people enjoy working from home, while others like being in the office. I think it's important to exercise regularly for both physical and mental health. Learning a new language can be challenging, but it's very rewarding. Let's move on to questions and responses. Repeat each pair. What do you usually do on weekends? I usually go for a walk, meet friends, and sometimes watch a movie. How do you improve your English skills? I practice speaking every day, listen to podcasts, and read books in English. Can you describe your favorite place in your city? Yes, my favorite place is the park near my home. It's peaceful and relaxing. What kind of movies do you like? I enjoy watching action and comedy movies because they're entertaining and exciting. How do you handle stressful situations? I try to stay calm, focus on solutions, and take breaks when necessary. Now, we'll practice longer sentences and storytelling. Repeat after me carefully. Last summer, I visited a small town by the sea, and it was one of the most relaxing experiences I've ever had. I was walking home when I noticed a beautiful sunset that made me stop and take a photo. During my last vacation, I tried many new foods and learned a lot about the local culture. I often think about my childhood memories and how they shaped who I am today. While reading a fascinating book yesterday, I realized how powerful storytelling can be. Keep speaking aloud, don't rush, and focus on natural intonation. Next, we'll practice phrases for expressing emotions and reactions. Repeat carefully. I was thrilled to hear the good news. She felt a little nervous before her presentation. I was surprised by how quickly the project was completed. He seemed disappointed when he didn't get the promotion. I felt proud of my progress after practicing English for several months. Now, let's combine everything with short dialogues. Repeat both parts aloud. Hi. How was your weekend? It was great. I went hiking with some friends. How about you? I stayed home and watched a few movies. It was relaxing. That sounds nice. Did you finish any good movies? Yes, I watched an interesting documentary about technology. Are you ready for the meeting? Almost. I just need to review my notes one more time. Don't worry, you'll do great. Thanks. I hope everything goes smoothly. Can you recommend a good book to read? Sure. I recently finished a novel called The Midnight Library. It was amazing. I'll check it out. Thanks for the suggestion. Let's continue practicing with longer and more complex sentences. Repeat after me. Even though it was raining, we decided to go for a walk in the park because we needed some fresh air. She couldn't believe how quickly the year had passed and all the things she had accomplished. I remember the first time I tried to cook a new recipe, and it didn't turn out the way I expected. While listening to the podcast, I realized how much I could improve my vocabulary by paying attention to context. He explained the situation calmly, which helped everyone understand what needed to be done. Now, we'll focus on idiomatic expressions. Repeat carefully. It's raining cats and dogs today, so I'll stay indoors. She decided to bite the bullet and finally start her own business. I was feeling under the weather, so I took a day off to rest. After working hard all week, he finally let his hair down at the party. They hit the nail on the head when describing the main problem. Great. Now let's practice expressing opinions with nuance. Repeat after me. I believe that learning languages opens up new opportunities for personal and professional growth. Although some people prefer studying alone, I find group discussions very helpful. In my experience, traveling teaches you more about the world than reading books alone. It's often challenging to maintain motivation, but setting small goals helps a lot. I think it's important to balance work, study, and relaxation to stay productive. Next, we'll practice complex questions and answers. Repeat carefully. What strategies do you use to improve your listening skills? I listen to podcasts, watch movies in English, and take notes on new vocabulary. How do you remember new words effectively? I try to use them in sentences immediately and review them regularly. Can you explain a difficult concept you learned recently? Yes, I recently learned about phrasal verbs with multiple meanings, which can be tricky. What do you do when you make a mistake while speaking English? I correct myself, and I try to learn from it instead of getting discouraged. How do you keep your English skills sharp every day? I practice speaking, listen to native speakers, read articles, and review grammar points. Let's continue with storytelling and descriptive sentences. Repeat after me. Last weekend, I went to a small cafe with my friends, and we spent hours talking and laughing. During the trip, we saw many beautiful landscapes and took a lot of pictures. I often think about my childhood summers spent at the beach with my family. While exploring the city, I found a quiet little bookstore that I had never noticed before. Yesterday, I tried a new type of coffee, and it had an amazing aroma and flavor. Now, let's focus on expressing emotions and reactions naturally. Repeat after me. I was amazed by the performance and couldn't stop applauding. She felt nervous before speaking in front of the large audience. I was delighted to receive such positive feedback from my teacher. He seemed confused, so I tried to explain the instructions more clearly. I felt relieved when the difficult task was finally completed. We'll now practice dialogues with different situations. Repeat both parts aloud. Hi. Did you watch the new series on Netflix? Yes, I watched the first 3 episodes last night. It's really interesting. I haven't started yet. Would you recommend it? Definitely. The storyline is captivating and the characters are very realistic. Are you going to the conference tomorrow? Yes, I have already registered. How about you? I'm planning to attend as well. I hope we can meet there. That would be great. It's always nice to meet other English learners in person. Can you help me with this project? Of course. What part do you need help with? I'm having trouble organizing the data and writing the summary. No problem. Let's go through it together step by step. Let's continue with more advanced sentences. Repeat after me. While waiting for the bus, I noticed a group of children playing happily in the park. She had been studying English for several years before moving to an English-speaking country. Although the project was challenging, we managed to complete it on time with teamwork and dedication. I was walking down the street when I suddenly remembered an important appointment I had forgotten. During the meeting, he provided several useful suggestions that helped improve the plan. Now, let's practice idiomatic expressions and phrases. Repeat carefully. She decided to call it a day after working for 10 hours straight. He finally came clean about the mistake he had made earlier. I realized I was barking up the wrong tree when trying to solve that problem. After months of preparation, they were on cloud 9 when the event succeeded. She tends to go the extra mile to help her colleagues whenever they need support. Next, we'll focus on expressing opinions with subtle differences. Repeat after me. I strongly believe that practicing speaking daily is essential for fluency. Although some people prefer learning through videos, I find reading and listening equally effective. In my view, making mistakes is a natural and important part of language learning. It's sometimes difficult to stay motivated, but setting achievable goals can make a difference. I think balancing practice, rest, and exposure to native English content is crucial for improvement. Now, let's practice more complex questions and answers. Repeat carefully. What methods do you use to improve your pronunciation? I listen carefully to native speakers, repeat sentences aloud, and record myself to compare. How do you remember phrasal verbs with multiple meanings? I create sentences with each meaning and practice using them in context. Can you explain a cultural difference you've noticed in English-speaking countries? Yes, I notice that people often use indirect language to avoid confrontation or offense. What strategies help you speak fluently under pressure? I take deep breaths, think in English, and focus on key points instead of every word. How do you stay confident while speaking English with native speakers? I remind myself that mistakes are part of learning and try to enjoy the conversation. Let's continue with storytelling and descriptive sentences. Repeat after me. Last month, I visited a historical museum and was amazed by the artifacts and exhibits. During my trip, I met several travelers from different countries and shared interesting stories. I often remember my favorite childhood memories and how they shaped my personality. While exploring the city, I discovered a small cafe with delicious pastries and a cozy atmosphere. Yesterday, I attended a workshop that taught me new techniques for learning English more effectively. Now, Let's practice expressing emotions and reactions naturally. Repeat carefully. I was fascinated by the performance and couldn't stop smiling. She felt anxious before giving her presentation but remained calm in the end. I was thrilled to receive such a kind message from a friend. He seemed puzzled, so I explained the instructions more clearly. I felt satisfied after completing a challenging task successfully. Next, we'll practice dialogues in different situations. Repeat both parts aloud. Hello. How was your weekend? It was fantastic. I visited a nearby city and explored many interesting places. That sounds amazing. Did you take many photos? Yes, I took lots of pictures and even tried some local food specialties. Are you attending the workshop tomorrow? Yes, I registered last week. Will you be there too? Absolutely. I'm looking forward to learning new techniques together. Great. It's always helpful to share ideas and experiences with others. Can you review my report before the deadline? Of course. What sections need more attention? The introduction and conclusion need to be clearer and more concise. No problem. Let's go through them carefully and improve the structure. Let's continue with more advanced sentences. Repeat after me. Even though the task seemed impossible at first, we managed to finish it successfully with careful planning. I was reading a book when I realized I had been completely absorbed in the story for hours. She had been preparing for the exam for weeks, and all her hard work paid off. While walking in the park, I noticed an elderly man feeding birds and smiled at his kindness. During the conference, several speakers shared valuable insights about language learning and communication. Now, let's practice idiomatic expressions and phrases. Repeat carefully. He decided to hit the books and study all night for the upcoming test. After making a mistake, she decided to face the music and apologize sincerely. I realized I was in over my head when trying to solve that complex problem. After months of practice, they were over the moon when they finally won the competition. He always goes above and beyond to help his teammates whenever needed. Next, we'll focus on expressing opinions with nuance. Repeat after me. I strongly believe that consistent practice is the key to mastering any language. Although some learners prefer studying alone, I find group discussions very beneficial. In my opinion, making mistakes is an essential part of the learning process. It can be challenging to stay motivated, but celebrating small successes helps a lot. I think it's important to balance listening, speaking, and reading to improve overall fluency. Now, let's practice complex questions and answers. Repeat carefully. What strategies help you improve your vocabulary quickly? I use flashcards, create sentences with new words, and review them regularly. How do you handle difficult grammar points while speaking? I try to focus on communicating my idea clearly and learn the correct grammar afterward. Can you describe a memorable experience you had while traveling? Yes, I visited a small village and learned about the local culture and traditions firsthand. What techniques help you remember phrasal verbs easily? I use them in daily conversations and try to connect them with real-life situations. How do you practice speaking English when no one is available to talk with? I speak aloud to myself, shadow native speakers, and record my voice to evaluate it. Let's continue with storytelling and descriptive sentences. Repeat after me. Last week, I attended an art exhibition that showcased amazing paintings and sculptures. During the trip, I met several interesting people and learned about different cultures. I often recall childhood summers spent at my grandparents' house and feel nostalgic. While exploring the city, I discovered a quiet bookstore with rare and fascinating books. Yesterday, I joined a workshop that taught practical methods for improving English pronunciation. Now, let's practice expressing emotions and reactions naturally. Repeat carefully. I was amazed by the performance and couldn't stop applauding. She felt a bit nervous before giving her speech but stayed composed throughout. I was delighted to receive such positive feedback from my teacher. He seemed confused, so I explained the instructions in a simpler way. I felt proud after completing a difficult task successfully. Next, we'll practice dialogues in everyday situations. Repeat both parts aloud. Hi. Did you enjoy the movie last night? Yes, it was fantastic. The plot was very engaging, and the actors were excellent. I haven't seen it yet. Would you recommend it? Absolutely. It's one of the best movies I've seen this year. Are you attending the meeting tomorrow? Yes, I registered last week. Are you going as well? Yes, I'm planning to attend. I hope we can share our ideas there. Definitely. It's always helpful to discuss topics with others and gain new perspectives. Can you help me edit this article? Of course. Which parts need more attention? The introduction and conclusion need to be clearer and more engaging. No problem. Let's work on them together and make the text stronger. Let's keep going with a short final practice. Repeat after me. Even small steps forward are still progress toward your goal. The more you practice speaking aloud, the more natural your English will sound. Confidence comes from consistency, not perfection. Every time you shadow, you're training your brain to think faster in English. Remember, fluency is built one sentence at a time. Great job today. You've trained your listening, pronunciation, and speaking skills through daily shadowing. Keep practicing every day, even for a few minutes. If you enjoyed this session, make sure to leave a like and subscribe to English Now for more shadowing and fluency practice. See you in the next lesson.